All right, testing, testing. Are we live? Yes, we are. Hello, everyone, all my followers of darkness out there. Here I am, your good old host, Lord of Shadows, and welcome to another one of my favorite live reviews. And this time, I'm going to review a TV show that I would say went on and off when it comes to production. A show that at least for me, we all been waiting for a long, long time, and now here it is, and I'm gonna do my own review about it, which is of course Batman: Cape Crusader. Man, like this show alone, of course, it's been so many ups and downs when it comes to production. From the very beginning, all the way to David Zaslav kind of removing him from Max, and also many different stream services trying to buy it and everything. Oh my god, wow. It's just this show literally when he to his ups and downs, but at least finally thankfully mostly through Amazon, it landed on his feet. And holy shit, we already have a comment. Hello. Seriously, FRC, at least give me a chance to kind of start my review, and then you can throw a comment. But still, thank you for the cheering. Thank you. I I really appreciate it. And I just bloody started. But anyway, yeah. So basically, I'm here to do Batman Cape Crusader. Where finally, the legend Bruce team behind Batman the Animated Series returns, alongside surprisingly, Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams as well, doing this particular project. And finally, in this show, the one thing I was really kind of waiting for, especially is for Bruce team to finally, do things that he couldn't have not done in Batman the Animated Series. To get really gritty, with a darker tone, and doing stuff, like I said, like I mentioned, he couldn't do in Batman the Animated Series. So that's one of the things that really kept me going for the show. And also, I was always kind of curious to see, since just from the posters and from the trailers we have seen, that this show is going to be definitely set in the 1940s. Now I do know that Bruce Timm, and the others mentioned, that they've taken inspiration from the 1940s and 1960s Batman, but you can definitely see, especially from the posters and again the trailers and concept arts, this is definitely in the 1940s. Now, without any further ado, let's start it. So the first question, of course, for me personally, and of course everyone else, is how was the Batman? And I'm gonna say right off the bat, he was great. And now the main question was, how was the voice? Now in Batman Cape Crusader, Bruce Wayne / Batman was voiced by Hamish Linklater. I do apologize if I butchered his name. Hamish Linklater. The first time when they announced the voice cast, and especially when they revealed the voice of Batman being Hamish Linklater, I was like, wait, is that the guy from the Robin Williams TV show The Crazy Ones? He's voicing Batman? I was like, okay, whatever, I'll give him a shot. And then of course, I heard him a little bit in the trailer, and I was like, okay, I'm digging. He's kind of deeper, grittier voice, as the Batman and everything. So I was like, okay. It made me interested in the overall Batman itself. But then after I watched all 10 episodes of Batman Cape Crusader, it made me love his performance even more. Oh my God, Hamish Linklater, he did a fantastic job as Batman. I really loved his performance, not just simply as Batman, but even as Bruce Wayne. Because one of the things, when it comes to especially what I love about Batman in voiceover is that, even though Batman is voiced by the same character, I always loved, difference in the voices as when you do Bruce Wayne and Batman. For example, in this case, Kevin Conroy did, God rest his soul, did in Batman the Animated Series, and until, his death, unfortunately. Yeah, but anyway, Hamish Linklater, even though he tried to make this Batman his own performance, I can still hear a little bit a little bit of mimicking, Kevin Conroy's voice as Batman, because Kevin Conroy will always be the Batman, at least for me, But I really like the kind of the small detail to kind of pay homage, to the main voice itself and everything. Now, as the character itself, I would say this is definitely one of my favorite Batmans I've ever seen in in movies or TV shows in general. Because just like again, just like mentioning again the Batman the animated series, it brings back Batman, down into his detective roots, and I really, really love that, kind of like, trying to solve crimes and mysteries happening all around Gotham, and I just love that, especially, when you have a Gotham that is set in this kind of like a noir 1940s, world, basically, and again, what Bruce Timm did with his character is just simply amazing. It was really great to see that, Detective Batman, back again and everything. Oh my God. And one of the other things I really love is that, now going back to the kind of like Bruce Wayne side, is that what I also love about the character is that usually when you have the Batman's character in movies and TV shows, usually you have more mature Batman, a Batman that is kind of like grew over basically of its like parents' death and everything, Thomas and Martha Wayne. But in this one, since you're dealing with a younger Batman, kind of like again, give me also like Batman year one vibes. This Batman, this Bruce Wayne, you can kind of see that out of all of them, this one is actually a little bit more. I mean, again, this might sound a little bit cruel, but like and kind of like low, but it makes him sound a little more unhinged, And I really like this, like version of the Batman, basically, like someone like a Batman that kind of like tries to really hard to try to get over his parents' death, but it's still like the scars are way too deep, and it's still like haunts him and everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, like every single version was haunted by it, but like they acted towards it like way more maturely and kind of like like, yeah, I kind of got over it. But this one, like it still haunts him, and I really, really love that, kind of like showing that a little bit like a more unhinged Batman, and one of the things I love is, which is usually kind of the case, like, not simply in social media, no, I mean like in TV shows and movies, but also in the comics, is that I love, that in, just like in this version as well, I love, that the Bruce Wayne is the mask. When you see Bruce Wayne in this show, Batman Cape Crusader, like he's not the real Bruce Wayne. Like when he dons the cape and the mask, that's when he is the real Bruce Wayne as the Batman, and I really like that transformation overall. Also, speaking of the cowl, I really liked the design of his costume in this one, because like kind of brings you back to the golden age of Batman. So this is really kind of it's really cool, and I really cool idea of where basically Bruce Timm took the Batman, like seriously, like one of the things I can definitely say at the very beginning for Batman Cape Crusader is that this show is literally one of a kind, and the direction that he went with it is just simply amazing, So overall, Batman, when it comes to like the character itself and the voice acting, you just simply like I would say, not simply for me, pays a great homage to Kevin Conroy, but also at the same time, Hamish Linklater trying to make the character his own. I would say he's definitely became one of my most favorite Batman voiceovers I've ever heard of. Definitely, I would even go as far as say it kind of goes very, very near the rank of Kevin Conroy. Now, of course, you all might think like, well, that's impossible. He does. There are a lot of moments in the show that he really goes very near the ranks of Kevin Conroy. I believe he deserves a seat at the table. I think he does. Yeah, but also, of course, that's this show is not just about Batman, because there's a lot of characters in the show as well. Like for example, his butler Alfred. You have Jim Gordon. You have Barbara Gordon as well. You have Rene Montoya and another character. Now again, those are just like few they have taken that I kind of like really like their journey through the show. But also one of them I was really surprised to see. It was actually Papa Midnight. Oh my God, he's kind of like an anti-hero / like voodoo witch doctor type of character. I really love him in the comics. So it was kind of like really cool to see him in the show as well. But anyway, kind of like try to reverse a little bit. Now, besides Batman, in the show, like all the other characters, what I also loved about is that every single character they let them breathe. From like Alfred Pennyworth, like he had a lot of great moments in the show. Like I would say, like of all the Alfred moments, starting with him, I would say my favorite one is definitely the like when they were facing Gentleman Ghost. Oh my God, like the way I was trying to like protect Batman and everything. Like, oh my god, like he made the character so noble. Also, also Jim Gordon, like he also great had a really great moments in the show as well. Barbara Gordon, like I would say, Barbara Gordon is like, besides Batman, she's also one of my favorite characters in the show. I really like the way how they explored her character. I wouldn't go as far as saying way more even than Jim Gordon. Because Jim Gordon in this show, I mean, he's basically the Commissioner Gordon that we all know and everything. And again, uh, you have to remember, this show kind of, is kind of like, I would say, starts with like, the first years where Bruce Wayne, became Batman. And like I said, because there's a lot of like Batman year one I've sensed throughout the show, So Jim Gordon also is trying to like, learn more about him. Like, is like, is he a threat? Is he good? Is he bad? Should I take him in? Should I leave him, do his job, kicking ass crime and everything? There's a lot of, like, basic question marks around his head. And I really like that. I really did. Now, besides that, we also have, Renee Montoya, and she is also, I would say, really good in this episode, in the show. Like, I really like, some of the great moments, that she has in those episodes. Especially my favorite moments of Renee Montoya, I would go as far as say, are definitely when she was, searching for, like she was trying to solve the crime behind Clayface. That was my first time I really liked her character. Then when there was like moments with Harley Quinn, and then the third time was when they tried to save James Gordon's ass, basically being hunted down by many different assassins and everything. Like Renee Montoya, just like Barbara Gordon, Alfred, and the rest of them. Like even Renee Montoya really does have a lot of moments to shine in the show. Like most definitely. Now I will say this right off the bat. I know there's I've seen some people complaining that there are definitely, like, out of the 10 episodes, there's a lot of episodes, well, not a lot, like a few episodes where basically other characters, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, other characters, have time to breathe, but Batman kind of like, goes away, kind of being like, in a corner, basically, not like, not having like too much to do and everything. Well, first and foremost, if you don't know, in Batman the Animated Series, there's a lot of episodes where basically Batman takes like back offs a little bit, and the episodes are centered to like other different characters. Like for example, if to give you an example, for example, Harley's Holiday, an episode that is centered all over the place with Harley Quinn. Then, of course, you have the episode "The Man Who Killed Batman," where basically the entire episode is centered around Sidney Debris and kind of like going over when he supposedly killed Batman. Or even the third example I have is an episode where basically you have Renee Montoya, Harvey Bullock, and another officer, kind of like telling their own stories about. I think it was something to do like with a gangster involved with drugs and everything, and also how Batman was involved and everything. But the overall episode was all about Renee Montoya, just like she had it when she was investigating Clayface and all. So again, even Batman animated series, has like this type of episodes, and just like Batman Cape Crusader as well. But to be fair, I didn't really mind when other characters had time to breathe, time to to be developed and everything, because like because sometimes again, sometimes you don't want to overuse Batman, even though it's a Batman Cape Crusader, it's Batman show and everything, but but again, even though in those episodes where he doesn't have let's just say too much to do, like he's not involved that much, or should I say screen time wise, he's still there. Like he still had a really big presence all over the place, and even though again there are some characters in the show that have a lot more shine than Batman, but overall I really liked it. I really, really did, and it would, which again makes me loved. It made me love, these characters even more and more and more, especially like I said, Alfred, Barbara Gordon, and Renee Montoya, especially those three and everything, and also I just want to say one thing. I know that Alfred Pennyworth is based on the Golden Age Alfred, which I think even back then he was like first appeared as kind of like a little bit like a chubby butler, basically. But every time when I see him on in every single scene, he reminds me so much of David Suchet Poirot. Oh my god, the like the facial structure, the mustache, the way he's dressed, it reminds me so much of Hercule Poirot. Like there's some moments I'm not kidding you. There's some moments where I wish Alfred, will say something like, Poirot remembers everything, or in his case, Pennyworth remembers everything. I know who is the murderer. I'm here to solve a crime. Like, oh my god, it's crazy because, like I said, he looks so much like Hercule Poirot, or should I say David Suchet's Hercule Poirot. But anyway, the jokes aside, every single one of those characters, they have really, really great moments in the show, definitely. Now, the other question a lot of people have are, of course, the villains. Now, I will say this, for a lot of people I have seen, at least for me, I've seen a lot of people kind of like, going ups and down, up and down when it comes to, like, the villains. Like, for example, a lot of the iconic villains that we have seen, like, all over the place, year after year after year after year. In this particular TV show, like Bruce Timm and the crew, they actually taken these characters in a completely different direction. They really did a lot of, like, experiments with these characters, and I will say this for me personally, because again, some of them are still the same as they always were in in the other, like, comics and movies and TV shows, but there's a lot of them they did a little bit different this time, and honestly, I liked it. I liked it. I like this little, like, experimentation that Bruce Timm and the rest of the crew had with his villains. Like, I could even start, like, for example, with the Penguin. I mean, I know that a lot of people had complaints about, like, the Penguin being gender swapped and everything. Like, oh, woke, way, and all that bullshit and everything. But overall, honestly, I didn't mind her. I really didn't mind, the Penguin being gender swapped and everything. And all, and to also add a little bit more, I actually really liked this version of the Penguin. I really did, especially, oh my god, the Iceberg Lounge. Oh my god, like, instead of being a normal club, it was a boat with a top hat and an umbrella on it, and everything. And oh my god, that umbrella turning into a fucking cannon. That was fucking brilliant. So, like, Golden Age comic books. Oh my god. I would say this, the only problem I have with the Penguin is that it was normal size. I wish, like, they would have kept the Penguin, the usual size as he is in the comics, and like how he was, way before and everything. But overall, I appreciate this Penguin. I really didn't mind anything at all about her. Now, after that, of course, we had other villains like, Clayface, Firebug, Two-Face, Onomatopoeia, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Gentleman Ghost, Nocturna, Rupert Thorne, and many, many, many others, and everything. Like, one of the things I will say this. If I have to choose, like, my favorite villains in the show, it would definitely be Two-Face, Clayface, Onomatopoeia, and Harley Quinn. Even though, personally, every single one of them, for me, worked and everything. Especially Clayface. Like, oh my god, Clayface being, like, based on, like, the Golden Age era, villain. Oh my god, I really like that. I really, really like it. Because usually, he's basically a fucking monster, made of clay and everything. But I really like what they did with Clayface in this one, making him like a very kind of like, making him like a very, like, 40s like type of, like, black and white actor, but in the same time, also having, like, this kind of, like, Humphrey Bogart type of, like, personality and everything. I really, really like that, and I love that his personality was kind of like this Shakespearean over dramatic actor and everything. Like, one of my favorite moments will definitely be when he was facing René Montoya and he was like, "Villain is the part I was born to play." I love that. Oh my god! And the voice actor did an amazing job. By the way, if you don't know, the Penguin was voiced, just just everyone to know, the Penguin was voiced by the same actress who voiced Jane in Tarzan, Disney Tarzan, of course. Now, also one thing I will say, it was really great to see Firebug, even though he was unfortunately a one-off villain, and even though he kind of looks like Firefly a little bit, even though to be fair, Firebug and Firefly are not actually that different in the comics. Like, both of them are, like, villains that are kind of connected with fire, and I think, like, both of them are actually, like, true pyromaniacs. I think both of them, even though the costumes are different a little bit, But I liked, Firebug in this one, even though he was a one-off villain. I really liked, his overall little journey that he had and everything, and kind of showing that he was a complete psycho and everything. Kind of imagining every single fucking person, made of flame, being a being made out of flame. Oh my god, like, that was crazy shit. Also, of all, I mean, basically, I mean, I could go over the place with all the villains and everything, but like I'm gonna try to be as short as possible. But also, one of the things I really want to mention is Catwoman. Like, I really like Catwoman wearing that Golden Age, uh, you know, original costume that she had, back in the day. I really liked, and I really liked her arc in general, you know, in this, in the show in general, like being kind of like, this, like, just like a very typical femme fatale, burglar, basically. She can also, I kind of like going away. She kind of also remind me a little bit of Fujiko from Lupin the Third. I don't know why, but there's something about her that kind of reminds me of her, a little bit, And again, not complaining, but she really remind me a little bit of Fujiko, her personality and everything. And I really liked also her personality with Bruce Wayne in general as well. Now, one of the other villains that I really was surprised in this show was also Harley Quinn. Like with Harley Quinn, they really went a totally different direction. Like, because usually, when she was a psychiatrist, she was always kind of like this very serious, psychiatrist type of like, personality and everything. And then when she became Harley Quinn, that's when basically she went goo goo gaga, basically. But in this one, it was the opposite. Like when she was a psychiatrist, she's like all goofy and everything. But when she's a clown, oh boy, like she is literally like if Hannibal Lecter dressed as a court jester. Basically, that's how I would describe Harley Quinn in this version. Literally, if Hannibal Lecter dressed up as a court jester, and instead of like eating people, he would basically brainwash them and all. I mean, usually, I know that also Harley Quinn was also kind of like controversial, the way how Bruce Timm went with her and everything. But I will say this: I really like this version. I really like this experimentation that he had with his character, and I really hope to see her again. I mean, even the voice actress, she did a phenomenal job. But having her that creepy, cold like voice and everything, like man, it made Harley Quinn look way more intimidating and scary, at the same time psychotic. You know, I mean, and also, I really like Gentleman Ghost as well. It was also really kind of cool to get the guy who played Flint in Black Sails to actually voice Gentleman Ghost. Although he in the show they kind of made him look like a highwayman and everything. If I have to say one negative thing, I didn't like Gentleman Ghost's design. I felt like they're gonna keep. I would have really preferred if they kept his original design, like the top hat, the cape, the staff, and everything. Kind of make him looking like more Victorian, like he actually does look and everything. But like if I have to, if I have like one complaint, then that's definitely that I didn't really like Gentleman Ghost. But when it comes to like other different designs, I liked every single one of them. Then, of course, one of the things I was kind of really surprised to see in the show is Nocturna, or Natasha Knight, whichever you prefer. Although, like, in the actual comics, she's an adult, and she's also a character that kind of like, went all over the place. Like, in the comics, like, remember, Nocturna started basically as this criminal mastermind who had skin problem, basically, where basically her skin was, like, very sensitive to the light, to the sun, and then why she always worked at night, which kind of also gives you an idea why she's called Nocturna. But then later on, she was basically turned into a vampire. Now, in this version, she's a scary-looking teenager who is a soul sucker, basically. A fucking soul sucker. And I have to say, her episode was like very Halloween themed episode, because there was a lot of moments in that episode that was like, some like creepy moments, scary moments, even bizarre moments, and I really, really loved that, and again, the actress who portrayed teenage version of Nocturna, she did a phenomenal job. Although I do remember somewhere Bruce Timm saying that Nocturna was actually supposedly supposedly appear in the Batman the Animated Series. But like I know that he also had some problems, like the producers had some problems, like for her not being in it because they thought like the episodes with her were like too violent or something, like But I do not remember that Bruce Timm was planning to bring her in the Batman the Animated Series as well, But so I'm really kind of happy that he at least he got a chance to put her in this and everything, And oh my God, like, as I was explaining, as I was like talking about Batman, one of the other things I loved about the episode with Nocturna is like when she was like when she basically had a fight with Batman, And then basically, he was trying to explain to her that her brother is dead and everything. And then basically, you have the kid who she was trying to suck the soul out of him and everything. The kid was like, leave her. That's what she deserves. And then he looks at him like, in a very serious way. And he's like, what? She's a monster, And then you see Batman grabbing her, and covering her with his cape and everything because, she's sensitive to light and everything. That brought me all the way back to Justice League Unlimited when he was like with Ace. Oh my God, that moment really brought me back. So many like emotional moments. Oh my God, I really really like that. Then of course we had other villains like Rupert Thorne as well. Which just like in Batman animated series, a very typical gangster type character and everything. But then after that, we also had, before I go to the three main ones I really wish to discuss, is also another villain that was kind of really surprised to see in this, which of course is Onomatopoeia. Now, Onomatopoeia, he was more centered around the episode where a lot of different assassins were after James Gordon, which, spoiler alert, in the end was actually revealed that Barbara Gordon was the target and everything. I was really happy to see Onomatopoeia, in this way, because I always felt like as a villain he was always very underrated and very in a way underappreciated as a character, because throughout the comics, he did fight Batman a long time, but he also fighting many different characters. I remember he was fighting Robin, he was fighting Green Arrow at one time. He really proved himself to be a worthy opponent. And just like the name itself, yes, in the comics, just like in the show, he does talk whoosh, crack, crush, beep, beep, ding, 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 bang. That's how he talks. Okay, that's not how he talks in the comics now. But it was really cool to see him, and dressed up like a fucking gangster. That was also pretty cool. One of the things I was kind of really also liked about this show is the character of Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. Again, just like with Harley Quinn, Bruce Timm also went in a different direction, even with Harvey Dent on this one. Not just simply, for example, because in the comics, Harvey Dent was always the righteous kind of district attorney, always trying to be helpful, believing in justice, staying positive and everything. In this version, Bruce Timm made him look like an asshole, basically. Which is actually kind of a big difference, because that's exactly how he was also in Beware the Batman TV series as well. Even in that show, he was an asshole. So that for me was actually another big surprise to see Harvey Dent being an asshole overall and everything, and also kind of a bit corruptive as well. But there was still some moments in there it was like, no, justice needs to be served. I'm not gonna be tempted with the crime and with being corrupted and all that, even though kind of leading me into Two-Face, which also is the one other thing that was kind of surprised, is that the Bruce Timm basically made the burn side good and the normal side bad, which is kind of when you look at it, Two-Face in general, it doesn't kind of make a big deal, because Two-Face in the end is always Two-Face. But I really liked his arc in this episode. I really, really did, and it's a real shame, in the end he died. Spoiler alert, yeah. It's a real shame that he died. I would have really loved to see more and more, his character in the show, but the way how the story went and everything, I think I kind of I still like his overall journey as well, and everything. It's just a shame that we're not going to see Two-Face again. Now, I know maybe you're wondering why the hell did I put Harvey Bullock in the villains slide? Well, we all know Bullock from from comics and different movies and TV shows, that sometimes he can be a jerk, sometimes he can be an asshole, sometimes he can be very difficult to talk to. But oh boy, in this version, you're gonna fucking hate him. You're gonna hate him. Harvey Bullock in this one is one of the meanest, one of the most meanest, arrogant, cruel assholes you could ever see, in any other version. Like I said, sometimes he can be a jerk, sometimes he can be an asshole, sometimes he can be corrupting, we saw that, from Batman the Animated Series to the Scooby-Doo / Batman Brave and the Bold movie. We also saw him like that in Gotham. He was like that also in the comics as well sometimes. But in this one, oh my God, he was never So he was never as evil and corruptive as he was here. Oh my god! In this one, he is such a fucking asshole. And Arnold Flass, oh my god, which is the blue suit guy next to him. Oh my god! Like, I mean, I know. I mean, Arnold Flass. I know. I remember him from Batman Year One. I remember him from the Christopher Nolan Batman. I know him from also Gotham as well. Like he was always this very corruptive, asshole type of character and everything. But boy, Harvey Bullock and Arnold Flass in this one, like it made me hate him even more. Oh my god! Like, man, sometimes I wish that Batman actually shot him in at the end of in the 10th episode. Oh my god! I really wish that he shot him. But again, no kill policy, and everything, because he knows that just like he said in Batman Under the Red Hood, if I ever go that path, I will never come back. Yeah. So now there's another villain I believe a lot of you might actually wonder, like, what is he doing here? Which of course, is that shadowy white figure at the end, very near like Rupert Thorne. And that is, of course, the clown prince of crime himself, the Joker. Yeah. Yes. At the end of the 10th episode, you see a little teaser of the Joker coming to Gotham. And, where basically he's testing his laughing gas, or should I say Joker venom on his victims. And oh my God, that scene bizarre and very, very disturbing. But, and the way he was testing and everything, and he was holding that needle and he was like, perfect. In a very deep, serious voice, which kind of leads me to believe that in season 2, we might see the Joker as the original Joker, or should I say the criminal Joker. Which basically, he was like all white and everything, but he was like, very serious. He wasn't like goofy or maniacal or a clown or everything. Like he was basically a criminal / also serial killer. So I will tell you, if this Harley Quinn and Joker ever cross path, I'm really curious what their role will be. Because one thing I do know, Harley Quinn will return in season 2, and everything. But overall, all the villains in this show were really great. Every single one of them had their own arcs. They had their own moments. And I really, really liked that. I loved every single one. The only thing I have to complain is just simply I didn't like Gentleman Ghost's design. But one of the things I really love about Batman, which I mentioned at the very beginning, Bruce Timm in this show, he went into different paths that he couldn't take in Batman animated series. Like he made the show gritty, he made it dark, he made it twisted. He gave us so many disturbing, scary moments, a lot of things. Like for example, people are dying in the show. Like we saw people getting shot, we saw people getting electrocuted, we saw people dying with fucking Joker venom. We saw Nocturna sucking I think there were souls from children. We saw children getting harmed as well. And that's why I love about this show, that's why I think this show is very unique. And I'm really happy that Bruce Timm finally got his wish and made this show the way he always wanted it to make. And one of the things, as I mentioned before, I love the way how the Gotham is depicted in the show. Like this very noir, 1940s, gritty city filled with corruption and crime and the style and the way of thinking and the vehicles and everything. Oh my God. I just love it. He really literally makes this city and the overall show one of a kind, and everything, it's just simply amazing. And the other things that I also, love to mention is that even though you could kind of say, that the overall season was like, in a way, he had an overall connected story. Or should I say, the season itself, it had overall, big story. I mean, every single episode kind of felt like, it had its own story, just like, for example, Batman the Animated Series had, each and every one of them was kind of like a detective type, story where basically Batman is investigating. But there are all sorts of bits and pieces that connects everything, and I really, really like that. The overall, we didn't just simply had, storylines, episode per episode, but in the end, we did had an overall, or should I say overarching story. Actually, that's the word I was looking for, overarching story. And I really, really liked, how they decide, to connect everything. Like, for example, one of the biggest examples is, of course, not simply many different character arcs, like I said, from Barbara to Jim Gordon to Harvey Dent to René Montoya to like even the fucking assholes like Arnold Flass and Harvey Bullock, but also with Batman, like his relationship with Alfred and Batman. I really love the relationship, like because if you when you start the show, Batman just simply calls Alfred all the time, Pennyworth, 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 But throughout the episodes, you see their relationship grow, getting more and more personal, getting more and more like, closer and everything, especially like I said, the Gentleman Ghost episode, especially that one, and when you reach the end, when you see Batman saying like, thank you, Alfred, I was like, yes, that's what we wanted to see. And throughout that journey, when you hear that Batman say at the end, it felt so rewarding, so satisfying. Like not only that the character of Alfred evolved, their relationship evolved, but also Batman's character evolved as well. It was just, it made me smile, like from ear to ear, like, oh my god, it was just simply absolutely wonderful. And again, also the action sequences in this show are fucking mesmerizing. From like the fight sequences, from like some certain shots, even like Batman's gadgets, very like 1940s, just like even his Batmobile are. But the way how they create them, the way how they made the usage of them and everything, it was just simply phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And the animation, oh my god, which is another thing that really made me feel so nostalgic with the BTAS TV show, was the animation. It really brought me back to the days of like Superman, Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, the New Adventures of Batman. Oh my god, it really brought me back to those times. Even like with Justice League versus Fatal Five, even, or like Harley Quinn and Batman and Harley Quinn. Like it really brought me back to those times, and I loved it. I fucking loved it. Like what the animation did. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff I can say about Batman Cape Crusader, but I truly will say that this show is one of a kind. Oh my god, and I really hope they keep going. I really do, because everything in this show, what they had and everything from Batman to the characters, it was just simply absolutely great. So overall, my final thoughts, like, I love this show, as I already said, like millions of times. I love this show. It really is one of a kind. I was really happy to see Bruce Timm, kind of like, make his dream come true, to make the type of Batman story that he always wanted, and he had everything, like from the noir elements, from the gritty, the dark moments, the action sequences, the story, the villains, the characters, the way how he evolved Batman, like everything about the show, I just simply loved it. I loved it. I mean, I watched the first season like 3 times already, ever since it came out, and I just want to say, bring it on. I just want to see more, especially the way how the especially with the way how season 1 ended, and of course, we all also have the news that season 2 is coming as well, and I think right now is in production. I think right now, so I'm really hoping for our 2025 release, So the one thing I will say this, what I do hope is that we is to, not simply some villains returning, which is another thing I love, that every single villain were like, well, with the exception of Firebug and Two-Face, but every single other villain, they all went to prison, or they were just simply imprisoned, just like Gentleman Ghost and everything. But so there's a very big hope that we might actually see them coming back as well, and again, cannot fucking wait, But also at the same time, I really hope we're gonna see more new villains in it as well. Like, I think like for our 1940s Batman, I think like I can see the ventriloquist being part of this. I can see the Riddler also being part of this. I can see Poison Ivy. I can definitely see her in the 1940s Batman, like, type of like world. I could definitely see her as well. Also, one more thing I just want to mention is that I loved like the way how they even made some certain cameos in the show. Like, for example, we had Floyd Lawton, aka Deadshot, in this one. And also I love the cameo of the Robins. Oh my god, like from like Jason, Dick, and Tim. Oh my god, I love the little I love those little cameos. We even had a fucking cameo of Killer Croc in this one. Oh my god, which is great. But either way, I cannot wait to see more of it. I loved everything about it. If again, the only complaint I had about this show is that you know the Gentleman Ghost outfit. Everything else for me worked. Nothing felt slow. Nothing felt too fast or rushed. Everything about it I loved. So it brings me to this. I give Batman Cape Crusader a 9 out of 10. The only reason I didn't give him a 10 out of 10 is, again, the Gentleman Ghost costume. I didn't like it. I really wish that they kept the original one. But overall, a well-deserved Batman Cape Crusader Season 1, a well-deserved 9 out of 10, and I cannot wait for the second one as well. Which also brings me to the end of another live review, which of course is Batman Cape Crusader. Man, one thing I will say, and I mentioned before, this show is one of a kind. It really is. What Bruce Timm brought, again, bring me more. I really hope that after Season 2 it still continues. I know when Amazon took Batman Cape Crusader, I know they already ordered 2 seasons. So kind of Season 2 was already in the bag. So I'm kind of hoping when Season 2 is over, I'm really hoping that Season 3 will also come out and everything. At least, make it Batman the Animated Series, 4, maybe 5 seasons, and that's it, But overall, and I really loved it, I really loved it. This is definitely one of the types of shows I will watch over and over again. But yet, here we are at the end of another live review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, you guys know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe. Give me your own personal thoughts about Batman Cape Crusader. What did you thought about the show? What did you thought certain changes, some characters, villains, story wise and everything. What do you think is going to happen in Season 2? What kind of a story we're going to have there? Overall, give me your own personal thoughts in the comment section down below. Until then, like always, Lord of Shadows signing off. Now, okay, before I go, I just want to say this. I know I already announced Villains Review Season 2 coming out this Monday on the 21st. Unfortunately, it's going to be the first episode of Villains Review Season 2 is going to be delayed until Tuesday, October 22nd. So just to guys to let you know that the premiere is going to be on October 22nd. And here we are. See you guys next time. As Beetlejuice would say, later, fuckers.